All right, guys, we are into Tuesday's assignment, which is just a PowerPoint today. You are going to need to have a scratch paper and a pencil to work from. Now, I did tell you last week that one of the things that was going to change this week is that you're going to have the answers to your slides. So I'm currently displaying here with the Google slide, but you're going to have a PDF to look at. I'm sorry, you can see when you get through the slides today that you'll have answer slides to check your work. All right. Make sure that you're doing your work. The first slide here is just helping you to see that there are multiple ways to skin the cat, like I like to say. But also, it's just different ways for you to look at how you can do your multiplication process. I do prefer that at this point you're using the standard algorithm, but I would prefer that you're at least using these ways rather than doing repeated addition. So if you're doing repeated addition, I really need for you to focus on practicing your multiplication like this. So the question says, in 2010, the United States Mint released a newly designed Lincoln penny. A Lincoln penny has a mass of 2 5/10 grams. If there are 5 Lincoln pennies on a tray, what is the total mass of the pennies? So it shows three different ways to solve. It says to estimate the product. So we have 5 Lincoln pennies times 2 5/10 grams. Well, 2 5/10, since 5 is greater than 4, we're going to round up and 2 would become 3. So we had 5 times 3. And then what does that equal? We can also use the distributive property where we take our first number, 5, and multiply it by the expanded notation of our next factor of 2 5/10. So here we would have 5 times 2 plus 5/10. That would be the expanded notation of 2 5/10. Then we would further solve it. 5 times 2, because we still have to take 5 times each of these numbers in our parentheses. So we would have 5 times 2 plus 5 times 5/10. We'd go down here. This is just like we do when we're solving for PEMDAS, where we're going through our order of operations. That's very similar to what we're doing here with the distributive property. We have 5 times 2 equals 10, plus 5 times 5/10 is 2 5/10. And what does that equal? And then in our third way, we're going to use the standard algorithm, where we're going to multiply 2 5/10 times 5, where we would have 5 times 5 is 25, carry our 2. We would have 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2, so we would write 12, because we're actually carrying that 1 over here to the tens place. All right, so the next thing that we have to recognize is where to put the decimal point. Well, because in our two factors here, 2 5/10 and 5, we only show one decimal place. We need to make sure that our answer only has one decimal place. Okay, there's only one number after the decimal. So this can be a 0 if that's how it multiplies. If we had 5 times 4 here and this was a 0, that works. We can have a 0 after the decimal place, but that is all dependent on what our answer is. So going on to the next slide is an example again of multiplying. I do want you using the standard algorithm, so that's what I have given an explanation for here, where we multiply 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 8 is 56. And then we would carry our 5 over here above the 6. 7 times 6 is 42, plus 5 is 47. You can either write down 47, or you can write down the 7, carry the 4, and then bring it down. But the thing to note here is we have 2 decimal places, 2 numbers behind the decimal place here, and we don't have any numbers behind the decimal place here. So that means that our answer must have 2 decimal places. All right, moving on to the next slide. Here is what I want for you to practice, and then make sure that you check along with your other slides that you've done the work correctly. You're going to place the decimal point in the product being the answer to a multiplication problem. So you have both of your factors here. How many numbers do you see after the decimal place? After this decimal place, how many numbers do you see? And you need to do that for each of these three problems. And then you're actually done for today. That's all I really want you to focus on. I want you to make sure you really understand this because we're going to be going into multiplying more and more numbers by decimals. And you need to understand how to place that decimal in the answer. Because understand, if you write 25 and 5/10 and the answer is 2 and 55 hundredths, it is two different numbers, so it is a wrong answer if you put that decimal in the wrong place. It's very important that you start recognizing that. So tomorrow you'll have quite a few multiplication problems to do, so make sure you have your scratch paper while you're doing it. Please, please, please send me a message on Remind. You can send me a message in the classroom. You can reach me by email. I will see all of them and I will get back to you as soon as possible. If you're working on Sunday and you just want to get a head start on Monday, that's okay. And if you're working on Monday to work on Tuesday, that's okay. Just let me know. I will get in touch with you and see where you need help. If we need to, we'll get into Google Meets and go over the work. I am missing you guys like crazy. I hope that you're doing all right, and I can't wait to see you on Tuesday. So today, when you're doing this assignment, you'll also have a Google Meet, as well as on Thursday morning. Thursday morning, we'll have a Google Meet for everybody. So just keep that in mind. You're going to be getting a notice about it.